It is time for Tim's Vinyl Confessions. I've got Will here with me, and we're going to go over our Boston collections. We'll get started with not a long collection, because even though Boston have been around for a while, they're not the world's most prolific band. But let's see what we've got here. Of course, we're going to start off with the iconic debut Boston album from 1976. My copy has a little bit of ringwear on it, but sometimes that's okay. That's well worn. And this copy here is actually a US version. Nothing much to say about this album. It's an all-time classic. It's the early orange Epic logo. Of course, this has More Than a Feeling, Long Time. One of the biggest rock debut albums of all time. And like a lot of them, you know, I have in various formats. This is one of my 8 tracks. This is a US version on Epic. Song titles mixed up a little bit of bubbling down the center there. And the CD I've got is actually an old one. It's an old Canadian version from Columbia House. Love that album art. There was a Radioland. When Radioland was in the Regent Mall, for the longest time they had a clock that had that artwork on it. I kept offering to buy it. They wouldn't sell it, and then they went under, so somebody's got that in their basement, I'm sure. That's what the CD itself looks like. And not much in it. It's just the back cover, as can be seen on the record, and the little write-up about the group and how they came together. I don't normally show like bootleg stuff, but I do have this this cassette here. It says Boston, Long Beach, 1977, and Demos, 1975. So the demos are all songs that ended up on the first or second album. But it's curious, this concert does have some songs that never made it onto one of their albums. Get It Out of My Mind, there's one called Television Politician, and I Don't Want to Lose You. Those songs, I've only heard them on this cassette. I don't know why they didn't make the first or the second album, but they didn't. So next Boston album came out in 1978. Great artwork. They've always had great artwork. Kind of the Journey school. Don't Look Back. And it's gatefold, so it's continuous picture all the way to the back and inside here. And I'll show you what the record itself looks like. It's a Canadian edition. The lyrics to all the songs, and the record itself, once again, is the old orange Epic logo. It would later be replaced with the blue version. So, well, you've got...
So I think this is the same Canadian copy. Gatefold on the inside. Sleeve.
Yeah, and the record looks just
orange.
the same. So, my CD is a US edition of Don't Look Back. Probably from the late 80s this would have been issued. Just typical CBS, what the CBS CDs looked like at that time. And it doesn't have the lyrics inside of it, but it does have all the pictures that are inside the gatefold. And Will's got what looks like a remastered edition.
Yes, so this is a newer version. You got the green CD.
That's pretty cool. I've never seen that before. And a lot more, I'm sure, a lot more inside the booklet.
If I can get it out, maybe.
Some of those booklets are a little stubborn.
Just got artwork and stuff in the booklet.
Looks like a little bit of a write-up on the album, too. There you go. And also have the Canadian version of this on 8-track. So there, the red casing on this actually matches the album art. I've seen some of these that are black instead. Also yellow, and this is just the Canadian, this particular version of Boston. In fact, it was 8 years before the next Boston album, which was I mean, it was another lifetime back then. I mean, now it's bands take extended hiatuses between albums, but 8 years between '78 and '86, it was another generation of fans. I'd never heard of Boston until I heard this song on the radio. This is the 45 Picture Sleeve to Amanda, which was a #1 song. This is a Canadian version of the Picture Sleeve. The lyrics are on the back here, and I'll show you what the record itself looks like. By now they're on MCA, so there's the A side with the typical MCA rainbow label, but the Boston logo front and center. And the B side is another song called My Destination, both of which come from the third Boston album, which is the only other one I have to show you on vinyl. Third Stage, 1986. Again, always great artwork. And gatefold. This is a Canadian edition on MCA Records. And even though it had been 8 years, this was still a successful album. Similar pictures inside your Don't Look Back CD, I think, though, the chimes here. So there's a long write-up from Tom Scholz about the album, and some technical stuff about it. I just like the sleeve. That's just cool with the logo on it. And there's all your lyrics on the back. And the record itself, it's not the MCA Rainbow. It is a customized label with just the band logo on it.
So the cassette is just the black with the logo on it, and then the title on the bottom.
It looks like a Canadian Columbia House version of Third Stage.
They have the clear cassette. And the inside folds out for the album artwork.
So there you go. Even though you don't have it on the front of the cassette, you still got it.
Yeah.
Now, oddly enough, the CD has the words Third Stage printed right on the front, which it doesn't on the record. So this is a Canadian CD on MCA. That's what the typical MCA CDs looked like. And it's got the same stuff inside of it. None of the pictures, but the write-up and all of the lyrics. And it was another 8 years before a fourth Boston album came out. Well, let's see what you've got there.
So we have Walk On.
And that looks like it's a BMG version, but is it US or is it Canadian? That would be a US, yeah. CD looks pretty cool itself.
And there's a fairly big booklet in here. It's just
Tom Scholz likes to talk. He likes to talk. There's actually it's an old school thing where there's actually liner notes that talk about
it's very blank, just lyrics and credits on the inside.
Inspiration for the songs, and also there's Don't Eat Meat, Don't Hunt. There's a lot of that sort of stuff inside there too. So my version is a Canadian version, and I actually didn't know for a long time. I thought, oh, they didn't even put the album title on here. I didn't realize that Walk On is written inside the rock there. But this would look cool on vinyl. Don't have it. It's out there, but it's expensive. The CD is like Will's, kind of a continuation of the Third Stage artwork, and there's the crescent moon there. And it's the same. The booklet is exactly the same as what Will just showed you. So that's the fourth Boston album. The next thing to come out was sort of a joint effort between Sony and MCA. They negotiated the rights to do a Greatest Hits, and 1997 Boston's Greatest Hits came out. Early computer-generated artwork, I think, here. It looks cool, but you can just tell that someone didn't sit down and draw that. That actually still has the hype sticker on it. This contained 3 new songs when it first came out. It's a pretty good collection of, with Boston's hits. It doesn't have all of their hits on it. It doesn't have We're Ready, and it doesn't have I Need Your Love, but for the casual fan, you know, if you're not just going to buy the first album, this is a pretty good thing to have. I don't know if it ever came out on vinyl. That's what it looks like, the CD itself. And there's more. Like I said, it's cool artwork. I can just kind of tell by looking at it that it's computer generated. Oddly enough, the lyrics to all the songs are in it, even though most of the songs on here have been reissued. And there's pictures of various animals inside there too.
Yeah, so this is the exact same thing.
I think yours is Canadian, is the only difference between.
So it's all the same on the inside.
The next thing to come out from Boston came out in 2002. Now, I didn't get this when it first came out, and the label it was on, Artemis Records, went under. So I ended up paying a little bit more than I should have for this, considering I don't really enjoy the album all that much. It's got its moments. When you wait that long for an album, if it doesn't hit it out of the park every time, it's like, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Corporate America came out in 2002. Typical Boston artwork. Yeah, I don't know. Just there's something about this album that just it could have been better. There are some good songs on here. It's always well done. Just I like the design on the CD itself. Looks kind of cool. That's the band as it was at the time. And yeah, all the lyrics and the credits. Artemis Records was a label that had a few established bands on it, but it went under, I think, probably about 3 or 4 years after this album came out. So it went out of print, and it's never been back into print. So all you're going to find is a used copy of it. And the most recent thing that's come out, the last Boston album going on 5 years now, came out in 2013, called Life, Love, and Hope. And again, the artwork, there's always a theme to it. It's very cool. This came in, not in a jewel case, but a digipack. Scarecrow Records, which is sort of a division of Frontiers Records. 2 of the 11 songs on here are remakes of songs that just only appeared on Corporate America. Don't know why they saw the need to redo them, but they did. Again, a few really good songs, and the rest, they're never bad. They just don't always stick to you. That's what the disc itself looks like. And there's the booklet itself. And lyrics to all the songs. Always good with the graphics, but yeah, Boston's a great band, great songs, but it's hard to. I find once you get past the first couple albums, and a lot of people just say the first one, but I really like Don't Look Back too. Their albums just aren't. It's hard for me to hold the interest all the way through, but enough good songs to make it worthwhile. And the classics that they have put out make it sort of essential to any classic rock collection. So that's our Boston collection.